Chapter 464. So, I have to do a mission. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He knew that he had to complete a mission after coming here for a while. What kind of mission is it? Lu Ming asked. After cultivating for such a long time, he also wanted to go out for a walk. Lu Ming, in view of your strength, the mission for you this time is a 2-star mission. Of course, if you think it's too difficult, you can withdraw from this mission. However, once you complete a 2-star mission, the reward will be very generous. The Mission Palace envoy said. Envoy, can I take a look at the mission first? Lu Ming asked. Okay, the content of the mission is in this jade token. Take a look. The Mission Palace envoy waved his hand and a jade token appeared. Then he flew it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out and took it. With a thought, the content of the jade token appeared in his mind. After a while, Lu Ming nodded and said, I'll take this 2-star mission. The Mission Palace envoy smiled and said, Good. You're not the only one who has taken this mission. There are a few others. Tomorrow morning, go to the mission reception hall in the Myriad Star City and meet them. Then we'll set off together. After saying that, the Mission Palace envoy turned and left. Lu Ming returned to the courtyard and thought about the content of the mission. The so-called 2-star missions were usually completed by second-grade Empyrean Divine Guards. The second-grade Empyrean Divine Guards were basically Martial King experts. Originally, Lu Ming was a rank 1 Emperor Sky Divine Guard and should not have taken on a 2-star mission. However, considering the combat strength he had displayed previously, it was normal for him to take on a 2-star mission. Moreover, Lu Ming also wanted to take on a challenging mission. To Lu Ming, a 1-star mission was not challenging at all. Moreover, after completing it, the reward would be very low. It was purely a waste of time. Then Lu Ming continued to comprehend the thunder will in his sea of consciousness. A day passed quickly. The next morning, Lu Ming left the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. After arriving at the Myriad Star City, he went directly to the Mission Reception Hall. When Lu Ming walked into the Mission Reception Hall, he only saw 3 people gathered together. Of the 3 people, one was a young woman who was about 25 or 26 years old. She was quite good-looking with graceful curves and a moving beauty. In addition, there was a skinny man in his 50s, and the last person was a burly man in his 30s. Each of them had a mission jade token in their hands. Lu Ming took out the task jade card and injected his true qi. Wang! The mission jade plates trembled slightly and glowed on their own. At the same time, the mission jade plates in the other 3 people's hands also trembled slightly and glowed, resonating with Lu Ming's jade plate. It's them. Lu Ming smiled and walked up to them. He cupped his fists and said, The 3 of you, are you also heading to the northern Liang Mountain to investigate the extermination of 2 sects? Not bad. The burly man in his 30s stood up and cupped his fists towards Lu Ming. However, after he carefully sized up Lu Ming, he frowned. What? The 4th person is you? You're only a half-martial warrior. How could you accept a 2-starred mission? Suddenly, the woman yelled with a tone filled with disdain. Lu Ming frowned slightly and said, What's wrong? I'm indeed a half-martial warrior. Can't I accept a 2-starred mission? Haha, what a joke. Kid, do you know what a 2-starred mission means? A 2-star mission represents a mission that only Martial Kings can take on. The 3 of us are all 1st-layer Martial Kings and are all 2nd-layer Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. Furthermore, a 2-starred mission is dangerous even for Martial Emperors. You're only a half-martial warrior, yet you dare to accept a 2-starred mission. Are you courting death? I really don't know what the people in the mission hall are thinking. Why would they assign a piece of trash to this mission? The young woman looked at Lu Ming with disdain and said loudly, Hee, 1st-layer Martial Emperor, is it that great? Lu Ming's face darkened as he said with a cold smile, 1st-layer Martial Emperor is nothing. However, I only need 1 move to kill you. Kid, I advise you to get lost. The young woman said. That's enough, Huang Jing, stop talking. At this moment, the burly man said softly. The young woman seemed to be afraid of the burly man. She snorted and shut her mouth, not saying anything else. The burly man smiled and said, Little brother, I'm sorry. Huang Jing is a bit hot-tempered. Please don't take offense. Lu Ming laughed coldly and did not say anything. The burly man said again, however, Little brother, to be honest, this mission is not something you can accept. Did the mission hall make a mistake? I advise you to go back to the mission hall and apply for another mission. No need. I've already confirmed this mission. It's suitable for me. Lu Ming said. Suitable for you? Haha, what a joke. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Let me tell you, if you're not a martial emperor, you're just an ant. Kid, you can follow us shamelessly, but let me tell you, when you're in danger, we won't help you. Don't even think about dragging us down. The young woman sneered. Don't worry. I'm afraid you'll drag me down. Lu Ming retorted. What's the use of having a sharp tongue? The young woman snorted and walked to the side, not saying anything else. All right, since that's the case, let's go together. However, little brother, if you're really in danger, you'd better run quickly. We won't be able to take care of you then. The burly man said. Don't worry. Lu Ming said. After this period of cultivation, Lu Ming's Zhenyuan had transformed to 99%. His thunder intent domain was also constantly improving. His battle strength had increased by another level since the battle with Xue Chao half a month ago. Lu Ming was confident that he was not weaker than some veteran martial emperors. The burly man smiled bitterly. He really did not know where Lu Ming's confidence came from. Then, the burly man introduced himself. I'm Su Zhong. Then, he pointed at the skinny man in his 50s who had not spoken and said, This is Song Ku. Lu Ming cupped his fists and nodded at Song Ku. You already know the name of the last one. Little brother, how should I address you? Su Zhong asked. Oh, I'm... Lu Ming was about to introduce himself when he was interrupted by Huang Jing. You don't have to introduce yourself. He won't live for long anyway. Huang Jing snorted coldly. Lu Ming sneered and did not bother to introduce himself. He stood aside. All right, let's go then. Su Zhong came out to smooth things over. Then the four of them left the mission reception hall and soared into the sky, heading north of Myriad Star City. Their mission this time was to go to northern Liang Mountain to investigate the murder of a senior member of a sect. During this period of time, there were a total of 2 sects in northern Liang Mountain. The senior members of the martial ancestor realm and above were innocently slaughtered. The strange thing was that their corpses were all gone after the incident. Brother Su, what happened? Why is there a little fellow at the half-step king realm with all of you? The bald man said. Su Zhong smiled bitterly and said, Brother Wang, this little brother is also here to complete the mission. What? Was he also here to complete the mission? What kind of joke was this? A mere half-step king? Are you courting death? Don't drag us down with you. The bald man shouted. Brother Wang is right. I've already told him to scram back to the mission hall and cancel the mission. But he was stubborn and insisted on following us. He's courting death. We'll just ignore him when the time comes. Huang Jing said coldly. Forget it. If he wants to follow us, then let him. In any case, we won't have the energy to take care of him when the time comes. The bald man said. Then, he no longer looked at Lu Ming. They're really looking down on us. Lu Ming rubbed his nose. However, he also knew that it was normal for kings to look down on cultivators below the king realm. He ignored them and sat down on a stone bench at the side. Brother Wang, what's the situation? Su Zhong asked the bald man about the situation. This time it's mainly the Tianyun sect and the illusory sword sect that were attacked. All the cultivators above the martial ancestor realm in the 2 sects disappeared. Not even their corpses were left behind. I'll take you to the 2 sects to take a look first, and then I'll tell you the details. The bald man said. All right, then we'll set off immediately. Su Zhong nodded. Immediately, the group of 6 headed towards the Tianyun sect. The Tianyun sect was built on a mountain range. Clouds and mist were faintly discernible, and the mountain range was extremely majestic. It was like a fairyland. There were many palaces and pavilions built on the mountain peaks, and people were coming and going. Lu Ming felt that the Tianyun sect was at least 10 times stronger than the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Thinking about it, it made sense. With a martial king in charge, it was equivalent to an intermediate empire. How could it not be strong? However, Lu Ming sensed carefully and did not feel any strong aura in the sect. Whoosh! Whoosh! A few streaks of light flew out from the Tianyun sect. They were martial ancestor realm cultivators. These martial ancestor realm cultivators were not in the Tianyun sect on the day of the attack. Therefore they managed to escape. The bald man explained. Soon, the few of them appeared in front of the group. Greetings to Senior Wang and Senior Liu. The few martial ancestor realm cultivators of the Tianyun sect hurriedly bowed when they saw the bald man and the white-haired elder. These three are also kings from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The bald man pointed at Su Zhong and the other two, ignoring Lu Ming. Greetings to the three seniors. The few martial ancestor realm cultivators of the Tianyun sect bowed respectfully. Their hearts were trembling. They were shocked that so many kings had come at once. Alright, we still have to go in and investigate. You guys lead the way. The bald man instructed. Alright, seniors, please. The leader of the few martial ancestor realm cultivators of the Tianyun sect was a scholarly middle-aged man. He hurriedly said respectfully. The group followed the scholarly middle-aged man and the others and flew into the Tianyun sect. This time our sect was attacked suddenly. All the experts above the martial ancestor realm have disappeared. The scholarly middle-aged man said with a sad face. Moreover, the strangest thing is that according to the situation at the scene and the reaction of the disciples below the martial ancestor realm, those martial ancestor realm experts did not make a sound and disappeared directly. Only the place where the martial king realm patriarch of our sect was in seclusion caused a huge commotion. There were also some traces left at the scene. The scholarly middle-aged man continued to explain, and led them to the place where the patriarch of the Tianyun sect was in seclusion. It was a mountain full of spiritual qi. However, at this moment the mountain had almost collapsed. There was a deep crack in the middle of the mountain. That was the scar of a blade that had almost split the mountain in half. The group flew down and observed carefully. They also found some traces that seemed to have been made by iron chains. Iron chains? What kind of weapon is this? Su Zhong frowned deeply. According to the situation, the person who attacked must be a martial king realm expert. Therefore, the martial ancestor realm experts did not have the slightest ability to resist. However, the other party could not be too strong. Otherwise, the patriarch of the Tianyun sect would not have been able to resist so fiercely. Huang Jing analyzed. However, according to the disciples, the battle was extremely short. It ended in less than a minute. After that, the patriarch disappeared without a trace. The scholarly middle-aged man added, it's very likely that the other party had more than one king realm expert. Su Zhong frowned and pondered. Lu Ming also looked around carefully. What can a half-step king see? He's just pretending. Huang Jing snorted coldly. Lu Ming was speechless. This woman must be crazy to always pick on him. Chapter 466. After observing for a while, they left the Tianyun sect for the illusory sword sect. The strength of the illusory sword sect was similar to that of the Tianyun sect. They also had a first-layer martial king realm ancestor. The situation was similar to that of the Tianyun sect. Everyone above the martial ancestor realm, including the martial king realm ancestor, had disappeared. Not even their corpses were found. The traces left behind at the scene were similar to that of the Tianyun sect. Su Zhong and the others frowned. This situation was indeed strange. They might have more than two martial king realm experts. We have to be careful, Su Zhong said in a deep voice. He then looked at the bald man and asked, Brother Wang, you've investigated for a few days. Have you found anything? Discovered? Of course we have. Furthermore, we have already deduced the next target of the enemy. The bald man smiled proudly. What? That's great. Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the others were overjoyed. According to my speculation, their next target will be the Black Lion Hall. The Black Lion Hall is similar to that of the Tianyun sect and the illusory sword sect. They only have a first-layer martial king realm expert. We just need to wait for them to make a move. After they succeed, we'll find their nest and wipe them out. The bald man said. Brother Wang, that's a good idea. Let's do it then. Let's not waste any time. We'll set up an ambush around the Black Lion Hall and wait for them to take the bait, Su Zhong said. Immediately, the six of them headed toward the Black Lion Hall. The Black Lion Hall was located in a huge mountain range. From afar, the mountain range looked like a ferocious lion. Lion roars could be heard coming from the mountain range, shaking the surrounding 10 miles. The 6 of them found a secluded valley in the Black Lion mountain range and waited quietly. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the crown of a huge tree. He hid his body with the help of the branches and leaves. At the same time he restrained his aura, making him look like a piece of dead wood. Lu Ming observed the surroundings with a trace of his consciousness. Most of his consciousness sank into his mind to comprehend the thunder intent. He didn't dare to get too close to the lightning cauldron because the closer he got, the stronger the concept of thunder, the greater the pressure he would feel. It was extremely dangerous, and if he wasn't careful, his mind would collapse and his soul would scatter. Just like that, a day passed without any movement. The next day there was still no movement. The next day late at night. Woo-woo. Suddenly gusts of chilly wind blew between heaven and earth. It was bone-chilling. He's here. The bald man pointed to the sky and said excitedly. Of course, his voice was very low and only the few of them could hear him. Everyone looked up at the sky. In the distance a dark cloud drifted over. Within the dark cloud, a black shadow was faintly discernible. What's in the dark clouds? It doesn't look like a human figure. Huang Jing said. That dark cloud was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived above the Black Lion mountain range. If not for their high cultivation, they would not have noticed it at all. When they reached the sky above the Black Lion mountain range, the dark clouds finally dispersed, revealing the real thing inside. What's that? Everyone's pupils suddenly constricted. What appeared in the dark clouds was actually 3 coffins. 3 incomparably huge coffins. Each coffin was at least 100 meters long. They were pitch black and floated in the air. It was very terrifying. Whoosh! The 3 coffins rushed into the depths of the Black Lion mountain range with a whoosh. Not long after, who's there? A furious roar came from the Black Lion mountain range. Then a huge black lion that was as big as a mountain range appeared in the sky. However, in the next moment, a few pitch-black chains flew out and pierced through the void, entangling the black lion. A few black shadows flashed out, but in the next moment they disappeared again. Boom! Boom! In the depths of the mountain range there was a loud roar. The entire mountain range shook as if there were peerless experts fighting. However, not long after, the commotion disappeared. The entire mountain range fell silent. Even the roars of the monsters disappeared. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, 3 huge coffins broke through the air and flew out of the Black Lion mountain range, flying toward the north. At this moment, there was a commotion in the Black Lion mountain range. Grandmaster, the Grandmaster is gone. Master, my master is gone too. The patriarch had a big battle with someone and disappeared. In the Black Lion mountain range, there were waves of wailing. Let's go, let's follow them. Su Zhong's eyes flashed as he said softly. Everyone nodded and rushed into the sky. They rushed into a cloud and used the cloud to cover their bodies as they chased after the 3 coffins. They flew toward the north for about 200,000 miles and entered a very desolate mountain range. This mountain range was boundless and uninhabited. There weren't even many demonic beasts here. Moreover, the deeper they went, the more desolate it was. It was even dead silent. Some white bones gradually appeared on the ground. They could even see some broken weapons and armor. This place should have been a battlefield hundreds or even thousands of years ago. It's filled with yin qi and murderous aura. The bald, burly man frowned. A wasteland appeared in front of them. The wasteland was filled with dark red fog. The howling wind was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 3 coffins flew directly into the wasteland and disappeared. Everyone pondered for a moment and chased after them. Chapter 467. Lu Ming had never heard of the Heavenly Corpse sect before. However, after entering the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, he had heard of it. The Heavenly Corpse sect was an extremely powerful force. Like the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, it was one of the top forces in the Divine Wilderness continent. Furthermore, the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace were mortal enemies. They would fight to the death whenever they met. The most terrifying thing was that the Heavenly Corpse sect was a force that had suddenly risen in the past 300 years. It was expanding at a terrifying speed and was constantly encroaching on the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace's territory. The Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace had been fighting with the Heavenly Corpse sect for hundreds of years. Not only was the Heavenly Corpse sect not destroyed, but it was also growing stronger. Although the Heavenly Corpse sect was still weaker than the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, it was not much weaker. However, wasn't the Heavenly Corpse sect fighting with the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace in some of the bigger regions in the Eastern Wilderness? Since when did they appear in the east of the Tianxian region? The Tianxian region was located in the easternmost region of the Divine Wilderness continent. In other words, it was a desolate region. How could the Heavenly Corpse sect infiltrate here? They can't be from the Heavenly Corpse sect, right? Huang Jing's voice was trembling and her face was pale. You guessed right. We are from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Furthermore, we are the corpse guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Suddenly, a few sinister and ear-piercing laughter rang out. The sound was extremely unpleasant, as if two pieces of metal were rubbing against each other. Whoosh! Whoosh! 3 huge coffins pierced through the air. They were about 100 meters long and were extremely huge. In the blink of an eye, the 3 coffins stopped in 3 different directions, surrounding the crowd in a triangular formation. They are really from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Furthermore, they are corpse guards. Su Zhong and the others wore grave expressions. The corpse guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect were similar to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace's corpse guards. They were the elites of their respective forces. I understand now. It turns out that you captured the experts of the martial ancestor realm, and above to refine them into refined corpses. Su Zhong said. Of course we will refine their corpses into refined corpses. A sinister laughter rang out from one of the coffins in the east. The corpses of martial ancestor realm experts have limited uses. Now that you have delivered the corpses of a few martial kings, you can refine into refined corpses. A voice rang out from the coffin in the west. You discovered us? Su Zhong said. Of course. Do you think that we don't know that you guys are investigating us, the Detian Divine Guards? The reason why we went to the Black Lion Mountain Range was to lure you here. Obediently accept your death. A cold voice came from the coffin in the east. At the same time, with a click, the lid of the coffin opened, and 7 or 8 black shadows flew out. They were black chains. Trash from the Heavenly Corpse sect. This is the Tianxian region, the territory of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Since you guys are here, stay here. The bald man roared and rushed towards the coffin in the east. An incomparably dazzling saber light burst out. It was 1,000 meters long, as if it could split the entire world apart. However, whoosh, whoosh, those black iron chains seemed to have a mind of their own as they pierced through the void. The 8 iron chains intertwined together and blasted towards the saber light. Boom! With a violent vibration, the saber light was destroyed by the iron chain, but the iron chain also flew back. You have some skills. Good, the stronger the better. The stronger you are, the stronger the refined corpse will be. A sinister laugh came from the coffin. Then the coffin let out a creaking sound, and the lid of the coffin opened completely. Whoosh! A burly figure flew out from the coffin. This figure was more than 2 meters tall, and his face was pale without a trace of blood. However, there was a tinge of black iron in his pale face. His eyes were filled with anger, but there was no emotion in them. On its body, there were circles of black iron chains. This is a refined corpse, not the actual person, Su Zhong said in a deep voice. I didn't expect that a country bumpkin from the eastern part of the Tianxian region would have some knowledge. The ear-piercing voice continued to ring out from the coffin, following which a black figure appeared. This black figure looked very thin, and his body was wrapped in a black robe, revealing a pale face. There was no trace of blood on his face, as if he was a corpse. However, his eyes were cold, which meant that he was a living person. It was said that the martial artists of the Heavenly Corpse sect mainly controlled corpses. Each of them would refine at least 1 refined corpse, and some would even bring many refined corpses with them. The stronger the refined corpses, the stronger their strength would be. Die. Kill. The corpse guard of the Heavenly Corpse sect shouted with a murderous aura. Whoosh! Whoosh! The refined corpse waved its arms, and the 8 chains danced wildly in the air as they charged toward the bald man. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. The bald man shouted angrily as he charged toward the refined corpse. Clang! Clang! The two immediately engaged in a fierce battle. The refined corpse was very powerful, and its strength was equivalent to the peak of the first layer martial king realm. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand in the battle. Hee, do you think that's all I've got? Come out. The corpse guard suddenly shouted in a low voice. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, two tall figures flew out of the huge coffin. Like the previous corpse, their bodies were wrapped in black iron chains. Their faces were pale, and there was a layer of black iron in them. Refined corpses. These two corpses were also refined corpses. Furthermore, they were emitting a strong corpse aura. Their auras were both at the early stage of the first layer martial king realm. Terrifying. A corpse guard of the heavenly corpse sect was able to control 3 refined corpses of the martial king realm. His strength was too terrifying. As soon as the 2 refined corpses appeared, they lunged toward Lu Ming and the others. I'll take them out. Huang Jing shouted coldly as she dashed toward the 2 refined corpses. Her aura of the mid-first layer martial king realm burst out from her body. Furthermore, Huang Jing was not an ordinary Detian divine guard. Like Lu Ming, she was a genius who had passed the previous selection. Her strength was stronger than an ordinary martial king realm cultivator. Her strength was close to that of a late first layer martial king realm cultivator. Clang! Clang! Huang Jing's sword was as fast as lightning, and she had lashed out a few hundred times in an instant. However, when the sword rays landed on the refined corpses, it was as if they had landed on metal. Sparks flew in all directions, and in the end, only a few shallow marks were left on the corpses. These refined corpses are similar to the golden-eyed blood corpse. They have copper skin and iron bones, and are invulnerable. Lu Ming thought. Huang Jing shouted as she engaged in a fierce battle with the 2 refined corpses. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand. Kill the corpse guard first. Su Zhong suddenly shouted angrily and dashed toward the corpse guard at lightning speed. Hee, you want to kill me? In your dreams, heavenly corpse claw. The corpse guard of the heavenly corpse sect sneered and dashed toward Su Zhong. It stretched out a pair of skinny claws and clawed forward. In an instant, corpse aura filled the air as the claws slashed out like blades. Die! Chapter 468. Bam! 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 The heavenly corpse sect's zombie guard blocked Su Zhong's attack. Although it was at a disadvantage, it did block it. Everyone was shocked. The heavenly corpse sect's combat strength was terrifying. Not only did they have several refined corpses with them, but they also had great combat strength. With the same number of corpses, ordinary martial artists were no match for them. Fortunately, Lu Ming had heard that the refined corpses of the heavenly corpse sect were very difficult to refine. Not only did they need the corpses of martial artists, but the refining conditions were also very strict. They needed all kinds of precious materials. Moreover, each person could only control a limited number of refined corpses. It was said that this was determined by the strength of one's mind. If it weren't for these restrictions, the heavenly corpse sect would be invincible. No force could compete with them. Swoosh! The zombie guard blocked Su Zhong's attack and retreated quickly, laughing eerily. Just as Su Zhong was about to give chase, another huge coffin let out a cracking sound. The lid of the coffin opened, and a black chain shot out like a bolt of lightning, piercing towards Su Zhong. Its power was extremely shocking. Su Zhong's face changed. He didn't have time to chase after the zombie guard and turned around to block the iron chains. Clang! Clang! After a few consecutive booms, Su Zhong's body trembled slightly, and the iron chains flew back. Roar! However, in the next moment, a deep roar came from the huge coffin. A figure pounced out with iron chains dancing around it and rushed toward Su Zhong. It was another corpse at the peak of LV1 Martial King Realm. Su Zhong's face turned serious as he fought with it. Kiki. A harsh and unpleasant sneer came out from the second coffin. A figure wrapped in a black robe walked out. It was an old man. His face was full of wrinkles, but his face was very pale, just like the previous zombie guard. It was obvious that he was also a zombie guard. Beside him was a tall and sturdy refined corpse. Only the white-haired old man, a skinny man in his 50s, and Lu Ming were left. Let's attack together and get rid of these people. The old zombie guard looked at the third coffin. Okay. A voice came out from the third coffin. Then the coffin lid opened and 3 figures walked out. One of them was obviously a corpse guard. He looked slightly younger, about 30 years old. Beside him stood 2 refined corpses. The 2 corpses both emitted auras of the late First Layer Martial Emperor realm. He will take 2 of their corpses each. How about that? The zombie guard from before appeared beside the old zombie guard and said coldly, 2 corpses per person? Alright, but that brat is only a half-step king warrior. I don't want him. The old zombie guard immediately said, I don't want that brat's corpse either. The first zombie guard shook his head and looked at the third zombie guard. You two don't go overboard. You're throwing the trashiest thing at me again. This time I don't want this brat's corpse no matter what. The last zombie guard said in a deep voice. Lu Ming was speechless. They hadn't even started fighting yet, but they were already discussing how to distribute their corpses. Did they think they were fish on the chopping block? Boom! Boom! In the sky there were several loud booms. Following this, 2 figures flickered. Su Zhong and the bald man retreated rapidly and stood beside Lu Ming's group. Huang Jing, don't be stubborn. Let's gather together and rush out together. Don't let them take us down one by one. Su Zhong said loudly. Huang Jing clenched her teeth and slashed out twice in a row, knocking the 2 refined corpses back slightly. She then retreated rapidly. Shush! As Huang Jing was retreating, a chain pierced through the air and almost pierced through her. Although she managed to dodge it, she was still hit by a strong force. Huang Jing let out a groan and retreated to the side of Lu Ming's group. A trace of blood leaked out from the corner of her mouth. Shush! Shush! A piercing sound could be heard as the 2 first-layer martial ancestor realm refined corpses split into 2 sides, blocking their path of retreat. Do you think you can rush out by gathering together? How naive. The first zombie guard let out a piercing laugh. Humph, with our strength, although we're no match for them in a head-on battle, you won't be able to stop us if we want to rush out. Huang Jing snorted. She had just been injured and was in a bad mood. After speaking, she looked coldly at Lu Ming and said, Kid, no one can take care of you now. Don't expect us to help you. Good luck. When did I say that I need your help? Lu Ming smiled faintly. You're still so stubborn when you're about to die. Huang Jing snorted. Hee, who said that there are only a few of us here? The old zombie guard suddenly sneered. What? Su Zhong and the rest were stunned. Suddenly a piercing sound could be heard. In front of them, another huge coffin flew towards them. In an instant, it was above Lu Ming's head. There's more. Su Zhong and the rest were shocked. There's a deep hole there. The bald man shouted. Everyone looked ahead carefully. Through the hazy fog they could see a huge crater in front of them. Just now the coffin had flown out from that crater. Crack! The 4th coffin opened and 3 figures walked out. A pale-faced young man in his 20s. Beside him were 2 refined corpses. However, the 2 refined corpses had powerful auras. One of them had reached the peak first-layer martial emperor realm, while the other was at the late first-layer martial emperor realm. Huang Jing, Su Zhong and the rest instantly turned pale. This time there were as many as 9 refined corpses. Chapter 469. Refined corpses are controlled by the zombie guards. Once we kill a few zombie guards, the refined corpses will not pose a threat to us. At that instant, Lu Ming, who had remained silent, spoke all of a sudden. Nonsense, who doesn't know that? But there are so many refined corpses here, how are we going to kill the zombie guards? What a joke, it's easy for you to say that. Go ahead and kill them if you dare. Huang Jing glared at Lu Ming and said in a disdainful tone. Fine, I'll go. Lu Ming took a step forward as his eyes flickered with battle intent. Huang Jing, Su Zhong, and the others were dumbfounded. You're going to kill them? Are you out of your mind? Are you trying to get yourself killed? Even if that's the case, there's no need to drag us down with you. Huang Jing chuckled as she did not believe Lu Ming's words. Guys, I'll leave the rest of the refined corpses to you. I'll deal with the first-layer martial emperor realm refined corpse and the zombie guards. Lu Ming pointed to the zombie guard and the refined corpse that had appeared last. Su Zhong and the others were dumbfounded. This? Su Zhong and the others hesitated. Let him go, since he won't be of any help here. Since he wants to die, why don't we fulfill his wish? Huang Jing let out a hollow laugh. Shut up, if you keep talking nonsense, I'll kill you first. Lu Ming glared at her with a cold, murderous intent. Huang Jing's face turned pale as her heart shuddered for some reason. Ha ha ha, did you hear that? That half-martial realm trash is trying to kill us. Hilarious. This is the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life. Me too. The zombie guards wore mocking smiles on their faces. Don't waste your time with them. Kill them and refine their corpses. The zombie guard uttered a roar. Following this, 2 refined corpses flew out from his side, emitting a strong corpse aura. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 refined corpses, one at the peak first layer martial emperor realm, and the other at the late first layer martial emperor realm. More than 10 chains were fired from their bodies in the direction of Lu Ming. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming's aura completely erupted. His bloodline erupted. At the same time, the 3 concepts of wind, fire and lightning also rose up. A long spear appeared in his hand. True Dragon Strike. He thrust out his spear, and a 3-colored true dragon roared as it pounced towards the 2 refined corpses. Boom! With a deafening rumble, the chains that the 2 refined corpses threw out were repelled. The 3-colored dragon did not stop and continued to attack the 2 refined corpses. Bang! Bang! The 2 refined corpses trembled violently and were sent flying hundreds of meters away. Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the others widened their eyes to the point that their eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Their mouths were agape, and they were dumbfounded. A single attack, Lu Ming had knocked 2 corpses back with a single attack. Not only that, one of them was a first-layer martial emperor realm corpse. How could Lu Ming have such powerful battle prowess? The key point was that Lu Ming was only a half-step king. How could a half-step king beat back 2 such powerful refined corpses in one move? How was this possible? They thought they were dreaming. It was especially so for Huang Jing. Her pretty face was filled with disbelief. Previously, she had been mocking Lu Ming and looked down on Lu Ming. But now? Lu Ming's strength was beyond her understanding. Half-step king at such a young age, wielding a long spear, and comprehending 3 wills. I think I know who he is. Su Zhong murmured, but his face was filled with joy. Who? Who is it? Huang Jing asked in a daze. In the entire eastern region of Tianxian Domain, apart from the new Eastern Sky Divine Guard Lu Ming, who else has such battle prowess? The bald man said. Lu Ming? Lu Ming. So it's him, no wonder. Huang Jing was stunned at first, then she exclaimed. Lu Ming's name had spread to all the Imperial Sky Divine Guards in the eastern region of Tianxian Domain. There were not many who had not heard of him. Everyone present had heard of Lu Ming's name. You guys came together, but you don't know that the other party is Lu Ming? The bald man was speechless. Cough cough, I did ask, but I was interrupted. Su Zhong coughed dryly. Huang Jing's face was somewhat pale. She was the one who had interrupted Lu Ming's self-introduction. At that time, she thought that there was no need to introduce a mere half-step king. Thinking about it now, she felt a little flustered. Lu Ming, the other party, was actually Lu Ming, the rare genius of the eastern region of Tianxian Domain, the genius who had defeated a true king as a half-step king. If she had known that the other party was Lu Ming, she would not have mocked Lu Ming like that even if she was beaten to death. Now she regretted it to death. How is this possible? How is this possible? A mere half-step king. A zombie guard let out an incredulous cry. The other zombie guards had similar expressions. Kill! Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand, and his aura was like a dragon. With a wave of the long spear, a mighty spear light burst out. Kill this brat! The last zombie guard roared. Clang! Clang! The 2 refined corpses waved their iron chains and attacked Lu Ming. The iron chains were extremely terrifying and could shatter a mountain. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. 1,000 dragons kill. With a shake of the long spear, hundreds of small tricolor true dragons flew out. The 2 refined corpses were forced back, and even a few zombie guards were enveloped by the dragons. Damn it, let's kill him together. The old zombie guard roared, wanting to control the other zombie guards to attack Lu Ming. Block those zombie guards. Even if it means risking our lives, we must block them and buy time for Lu Ming. Su Zhong roared and pounced on a peak first-layer Martial King refined corpse. He even enveloped a mid first-layer Martial King refined corpse and restrained it. The bald man, Huang Jing, and the others yelled and charged toward the refined corpses. Lu Ming's outburst had given them hope, thus they did their best. In an instant the entire area was immersed in a great battle. Lu Ming's true yuan burst out, and his long spear was like a dragon. The huge spear light was like a mountain, completely suppressing the two refined corpses. Previously, when Lu Ming was battling Xue Chao, before the three wills of wind, fire, and thunder had completely merged, Lu Ming's battle strength was already on par with Xue Chao's. Later on, when the three wills had completely merged, the power of the three wills had increased by a few times. Furthermore, the three unique skills of the Dragon God had evolved from a Tian rank lower martial skill to a Tian rank upper martial skill. Lu Ming's battle strength had also increased, allowing him to easily suppress Xue Chao. During this period of time, 99% of Lu Ming's vital essence had been transformed. At the same time, his understanding of the three unique skills of the Dragon God had deepened day by day. Now, Lu Ming's combat strength had completely surpassed that of an ordinary peak first-level Martial King. Therefore, Lu Ming was able to suppress the two refined corpses. "Shit, let's kill that kid together." The old zombie guard yelled in astonishment. "Kill! Kill!" The four zombie guards unleashed their corpse chi, and four claw glows swiped toward Lu Ming. "Devour!" Lu Ming's eyes flickered as the nine dragons' bloodline flew out and uttered a roar, unleashing a terrifying devouring force. "The power of my bloodline! My blood essence!" The four zombie guards instantly exclaimed. Chapter 470. Nine Dragons Stomping the Sky. Lu Ming looked down from above and took two consecutive steps forward. Boom! Boom! A violent force crushed toward the four zombie guards. The four zombie guards shuddered and retreated. Extreme Dao Strike. At this moment, Lu Ming's body slightly arched and his spine twisted like a dragon. Endless power and intent surged toward the long spear. Whoosh! In the next moment, Lu Ming and the long spear seemed to have merged into one, turning into a sharp spear ray that pierced forward. Whoosh! The space seemed to have been pierced by the tip of the spear and began to fluctuate violently. Looking from afar, the space looked like a ripple that had been pierced by a sharp weapon. Ripples appeared on both sides, and a clear mark appeared in the middle. This was the strongest move of the three ultimate skills of the Dragon God, the Extreme Dao Strike. It could only be performed after comprehending the three intents of wind, fire, and lightning and completely merging them. This move contained the speed of the intent of lightning, the penetrating power of the intent of wind, and the explosive power of the intent of fire. It was said to be indestructible and able to penetrate everything. It was the strongest offensive move. This move was aimed at the last zombie guard. This move was too fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived in front of the zombie guard. Ah! The zombie guard screamed in horror. It wanted to dodge, but it was too late. It could only use its pale claws to block in front of its body. Poochie! Its claws, which were as hard as steel, were pierced through like tofu. Then the long spear pierced through its forehead. Buzz! Then the long spear vibrated and a strong force exploded, tearing the body of the zombie into pieces. Dead! A powerful zombie guard died just like that, killed by Lu Ming with a single strike. This zombie guard's combat strength was definitely not weaker than the late first-layer Martial King realm, but it was killed by Lu Ming just like that. Su Zhong and the others would have been stunned if they were not in the middle of a battle. Even so, they were tongue-tied and shocked. Especially Huang Jing, who was almost scared out of her wits. She thought of how she had mocked Lu Ming before. If Lu Ming were to shoot her like that, she would be finished. As soon as the zombie guard died, the two refined corpses that were fighting with Lu Ming stopped moving in the air like two puppets. Ah, not good. Summon the refined corpses to defend. The remaining three zombie guards were scared out of their wits. They screamed crazily and desperately tried to summon their refined corpses to defend. Stop these refined corpses! Su Zhong roared and used all his strength to stop the refined corpses with all his might. The others were the same. They risked their lives to tie down those refined corpses, preventing them from returning to defend themselves. Damn it, damn it. The three zombie guards roared and retreated frantically. Extreme Dao Strike. At this moment, Lu Extreme Dao Strike again, Extreme Dao Strike. Whoosh! Man and spear became one, piercing through the void and stabbing towards the back of a zombie guard. No! No! Help! The zombie guard was scared out of his wits. He screamed desperately and waved his hand, summoning an ancient bronze coffin in front of him. However, it was useless. Lu Ming's spear pierced through the ancient bronze coffin and penetrated the guard's heart. The zombie guard uttered a cry of unwillingness before his aura faded away. The second zombie guard was dead. As soon as the zombie guard died, the three corpses he was controlling stopped in the air like puppets. Among them, there was even a first-layer Martial Emperor Realm corpse that was fighting against the bald man, but they all came to a stop at that instant. Scum of the Heavenly Corpse Sect, die! The bald man didn't have any opponents left, so he immediately roared and charged towards the last two zombie guards. In addition, there was also that skinny man in his 50s. Without any opponents, he also charged towards the two zombie guards. The tables had turned in their favor. Buzz! The demon-suppressing spear in Lu Ming's hand trembled slightly, as if it could not withstand the pressure. Phew! Lu Ming took a few deep breaths to calm the restless true qi in his body. It's still a bit difficult to execute the Extreme Dao Strike. It's extremely taxing on my true qi and my flesh, Lu Ming pondered. Although the Extreme Dao Strike was powerful, with Lu Ming's current cultivation, he could only execute it a few times. Furthermore, he could not even unleash a portion of its power. If Lu Ming wanted to unleash the full power of the Extreme Dao Strike, he would have to break through to the Martial Emperor realm and condense intent runes with his 3 intents. Also, this demon-suppressing spear is no longer useful. Lu Ming glanced at the demon-suppressing spear in his hand and thought to himself, the power of the Extreme Dao Strike was too strong, thus it was a huge burden to the spear. Let's kill these two zombie guards first. Lu Ming thought for a while. With a shake of his spear, he continued to attack the two zombie guards. The huge spear light pressed down. With the cooperation of the bald man and the skinny man, the two zombie guards coughed up large mouthfuls of blood and were seriously injured in just 2 moves. Help, young Master Kuei, help! The two zombie guards screamed crazily and ran towards the deep pit with all their might. There are still people over there. Kill these two as soon as possible, Lu Ming shouted. From what the two zombie guards said, there were still people in the deep pit. Moreover, they seemed to be even stronger. For some reason, they had not appeared until now. But no matter what, they had to kill the two zombie guards first. You want to leave? Die! The bald man roared and charged towards the two zombie guards. With the addition of Lu Ming and the skinny man, the two zombie guards could not resist at all. Boom! Lu Ming's spear was as big as a mountain. It combined 3 intents and pressed down. The old zombie guard screamed in pain. Crackling sounds came from its body as it was smashed into the ground by Lu Ming. Blood flowed from its mouth. It was exhaling more than it inhaled. Ah! On the other side, the bald man slashed out with his saber, splitting the zombie guard into 2 halves. At this point, all 4 zombie guards were killed. With the death of the 4 zombie guards, the other refined corpses stood there like wooden blocks. Ahaha, the Heavenly Corpse Sex trash is finally dead. The bald man laughed loudly. Suzhong Huangjing and the rest also breathed out in relief. Suzhong Huangjing and the white-haired old man walked towards Lu Ming. However, the expression on their faces was extremely complicated. Lu Ming, I really had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I'm ashamed that I didn't recognize you. Suzhong cupped his fists towards Lu Ming. His face was full of shame. You're too polite, Lu Ming said casually. Huangjing bit her lips, her face flushed red with shame. She looked at Lu Ming, wanting to say something but hesitated. She wanted to apologize to Lu Ming, but recalling her previous attitude, she couldn't bring herself to do so. She had mocked Lu Ming for being a burden to them, but what was the truth? It was Lu Ming who saved them. If it wasn't for Lu Ming, they would have been in danger. Little brother Lu really lives up to his reputation. You're much stronger than the rumors. Please forgive us for our previous offense. The bald man also walked over and said with a forthright smile. Previously, he had also looked down on Lu Ming, thinking that Lu Ming would be a burden to them. Chapter 471. Everyone according to what the zombie guard said. There must be more people from the Heavenly Corpse sect in the deep pit. What do you plan to do next? Lu Ming changed the topic. I think we should leave this place immediately and report the situation to the higher-ups so that they can send stronger experts, Su Zhong said with a serious face. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was high, he was still a half-step king. If the other party sent out a second-layer Martial King expert, they would be in danger. In the Martial King realm, the difference between each layer was huge. A second-layer Martial King could easily kill a first-layer Martial King expert. I also think we should leave this place, Huang Jing said. I don't think so. The bald man looked at the deep pit and licked his lips. Oh. Su Zhong and the others looked at the bald man in surprise. Everyone previously, the experts of Tianyun sect, Illusory Sword sect, and Black Lion Hall all disappeared. They must have been killed by the Heavenly Corpse sect and brought their corpses here. They must be using the corpses to practice some kind of cultivation technique or to refine some powerful corpse. Now that we've killed all 4 zombie guards, they've definitely heard the commotion, but they haven't shown themselves yet. I'm guessing that they're at a crucial moment in their cultivation. If we enter now, we might be able to kill them in one go. This would be a great contribution. The bald man's eyes were bright and filled with passion. The Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace were mortal enemies. Now the Heavenly Corpse sect had infiltrated the eastern part of the Tianqian domain. If they could kill some zombie guards with high cultivation, the Heavenly Corpse sect would definitely reward them handsomely. Su Zhong and the others were instantly tempted. But I still think the risk is too great. Su Zhong frowned and said, Brother Lu, what do you think? The bald man looked at Lu Ming. Then Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the others also looked at Lu Ming. It could be said that Lu Ming's battle strength was the strongest here. Imperceptibly, his weight in everyone's hearts had increased greatly. I'm fine with anything, Lu Ming said with a faint smile. Indeed, he did not mind. He had cultivated the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. If he really encountered an undefeatable expert, he was confident that he could escape. Seeing this, the bald man's eyes lit up and he said, How about this? Let's go to that deep pit first and investigate it. If there's no danger, then we'll decide what to do next. How about it? If that's the case, it's feasible. Su Zhong pondered for a moment and said. Huang Jing and the white-haired old man nodded in agreement. This was the safest course of action. Since the decision had been made, everyone immediately restrained their auras and headed towards the deep pit. They slowly approached the deep pit. This was too sudden. Even Lu Ming could not react. Subconsciously, the 9 dragons' bloodline erupted, forming a powerful devouring force that enveloped his body. Following this, the bald man's terrifying palm force was crazily aimed at Lu Ming's body. The devouring force of the 9 dragons' bloodline was unleashed, devouring almost half of the bald man's palm force. However, the remaining half still landed on Lu Ming's body. Bang! Lu Ming was sent flying backward as if he had been hit by an ancient mountain. Behind him was the deep pit. What are you guys doing? Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the white-haired old man were stunned. They did not understand why the bald man would suddenly attack Lu Ming. Haha, Lu Ming die. The bald man burst out laughing. Meanwhile, the bald man transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, who asked you to offend the Thunder Hall Master? You're courting death. Besides, Qiu Chongkong and Xue Chao are heading to the Scorching Sun Empire in the Cloud Emperor Mountain Range. Your friends and family will die. Bang! The bald man's words were like a clap of thunder that exploded in Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming's eyes turned red instantly. Thunder Hall Master Qiu Chongkong, Xue Chao, damn you, die. Lu Ming screamed in his heart. Clang! Chapter 472. Dozens of black iron chains, each as thick as a person's wrist, pierced through the air like black poisonous snakes with terrifying power. Every one of them had 4 to 5 iron chains on them. Get lost! The bald man roared as he slashed out with his saber. Rays of saber light split the iron chains apart. Swish! Swish! There were also 5 iron chains that wrapped around Lu Ming. Buzz! Buzz! Lu Ming waved his hand, condensing long spears that flew in all directions to block the iron chains. At the same time, his true chi burst out, and his body was about to soar into the sky. However, as soon as his body moved, a piercing pain came from his chest. He was indeed caught off guard by the bald man's sudden attack. The bald man had mocked Lu Ming as soon as they met, which made Lu Ming let down his guard. Now that he thought about it, it was all on purpose. Rise! Lu Ming roared as he forced his way up. Get down! The bald man roared as he held his saber with both hands. A blazing saber light slashed towards Lu Ming's head. Clang! Lu Ming blocked with his spear, but his body couldn't help but fall. Swish! Swish! The iron chains danced in the air as more than 10 iron chains wrapped around the bald man and Lu Ming. At the same time, more than 10 iron chains rushed out of the deep pit. Lu Ming resisted with all his strength, but in the end, he was still entangled by one of the iron chains. Ha ha ha! Lu Ming, die obediently. The bald man laughed. Come down together. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he waved his hand. 7 or 8 spear lights pierced towards the bald man. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and grabbed one of the iron chains. He suddenly swung it, and the iron chain was infused with 3 types of intent as it attacked the bald man. The bald man roared as he tried his best to resist the iron chains around him. He also had to deal with the 10 spears that Lu Ming had thrown out. He was suddenly flustered. At this time, Lu Ming's iron chains broke through the bald man's defense and firmly entangled him. Damn it! The bald man was incomparably shocked and angry, roaring again and again. What are you shouting for? Let's go down together. Lu Ming sneered. Break! The bald man was so anxious that his bald head was covered in cold sweat. He frantically chopped at the iron chain with his saber. However, he didn't know what kind of material this iron chain was made of, but it was incomparably hard. The bald man simply couldn't break it in a short time. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this time, more iron chains wrapped around Lu Ming and the bald man, dragging them into the deep pit. Outside the crater, Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the white-haired old man did their best to escape the range of the iron chains. Huff huff! The iron chain dragged Lu Ming and the bald man down. No, I can't die here. The bald man struggled with all his might, roaring again and again. However, he could not break free from the shackles of the chains. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was very calm as he looked around. Along the way, Lu Ming had encountered countless dangerous situations. He knew very well that the more dangerous it was, the more he couldn't panic. Only then could he find a way to break free. The true dragon battle art in his body was circulating at full force, healing his injuries. The crater was really deep. The iron chains dragged the 2 of them down more than 2,000 meters before they finally reached the bottom. Bam! Bam! The iron chains dragged the 2 of them and slammed them to the ground. Then the iron chains actually loosened, and Lu Ming and the bald man regained their freedom. Once he regained his freedom, the bald man hurriedly retreated to the side and looked at Lu Ming cautiously. Lu Ming glanced at him and then looked around. The crater was very dark and the distance one could see was very limited. Around them, one could vaguely see figures sitting cross-legged on the ground. On each of them, there were a few iron chains that swayed like poisonous snakes. At a glance, there were at least over 100 figures. Hehe. Now that you have fallen into my 10,000 corpse ritual array, be obedient and become my refined corpses. At this moment, a cold voice rang out. People of the Heavenly Corpse sect, how dare you? I am a 2nd-grade Heavenly Divine Guard of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. I advise you to release me quickly. Otherwise, when the experts of my Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace arrive, it will be the time of your death. The bald man roared. Hehe. So what if you are from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Just now, there were indeed a few people who escaped. However, even if they reported to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace and the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace sent experts here, it would take at least 3 days. 3 days is enough for me to complete my task and refine you all into refined corpses. That cold voice rang out again. You want to refine me into a refined corpse? Dream on. The bald man roared and soared into the sky, wanting to charge out. However, The iron chains danced in the air from all directions and appeared above his head. Dang! Dang! The bald man continued to attack the iron chains, but it was to no avail. In my 10,000 corpse ritual array, even a third-grade martial king realm martial artist would not be able to charge out, let alone a first-grade martial king realm martial artist like you. Be obedient and become my refined corpse. That voice sneered. Whoosh whoosh. As soon as the voice finished speaking, gusts of wind seemed to blow in the deep pit. At the same time, waves of gray fog filled the air. Oh no, it's corpse chi. The bald man's expression changed drastically. Don't make any useless resistance. Under my corpse chi, become a refined corpse. That voice laughed loudly. The dense corpse chi immediately enveloped the bald man and Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned and circulated his true origin to cover his entire body, blocking the corpse chi in the surroundings. However, sizzle sizzle, when the corpse chi came into contact with the true origin, it actually started to corrode the true origin quickly. On the other side, the bald man roared. Apparently, he was facing the same result. I told you it's useless. This is the corpse chi condensed by the 10,000 corpse ritual array. It can corrode true origin. You can't resist it at all, haha. That voice sounded again. Damn it, Lu Ming, it's all your fault, it's all your fault. The bald man roared again and again. He was scared to death. If Lu Ming hadn't dragged him down, he wouldn't have been in such a desperate situation. Lu Ming didn't bother to pay attention to him. He circulated his true origin with all his might, and at the same time, controlled the 9 dragons' bloodline to erupt with the devouring power. Whoosh whoosh. The corpse chi around Lu Ming was indeed devoured by the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline. It had no effect on Lu Ming at all. Of course, Lu Ming used it very secretly, and no one else noticed. Immediately, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and began to circulate his chi to heal his injuries. However, in the eyes of others, he was circulating his chi to resist the corpse chi. Damn it, damn it! The bald man kept roaring. He also sat down cross-legged and circulated his chi to resist. Crack crack, Lu Ming's body made a slight sound as he moved to recover. With Lu Ming's current physical strength, his recovery ability was simply terrifying. Coupled with the true dragon battle art, Lu Ming's recovery ability had reached an abnormal level. In just an hour, Lu Ming's injuries were healed. Swoosh! Lu Ming opened his eyes, stood up, and strode toward the bald man. Just now, he was only trying to heal his injuries. He didn't think of letting the bald man go. Chapter 473. What am I doing? Of course I'm going to kill you. Lu Ming said with a faint smile. Kill me? You're still thinking about killing me at this time. Now we should work together and find a way to get out. The bald man shouted. In just an hour, the bald man's aura had weakened a lot. A layer of gray corpse chi appeared on his face. No need. I'll find a way out after I kill you. Lu Ming sneered and strode toward the bald man. The bald man's face was covered in cold sweat as he retreated. A cold voice came from all around as if it was watching a good show. Lu Ming, you're also corroded by corpse chi. I don't believe you can kill me. If you fight me now, you'll only speed up the corpse chi's corrosion. You're digging your own grave. The bald man shouted. You don't have to worry about that. Lu Ming sneered. He clenched his hand and a long spear appeared. Buzz! The long spear shook and 3 different wills burst out. A terrifying spear light blasted toward the bald man. The bald man roared. His battle saber appeared and he fought with Lu Ming. However, he had been corroded by corpse chi and was greatly weakened. How could he be Lu Ming's opponent? In just a few moves, he was forced to retreat and spit out a mouthful of blood. How can you be fine? The bald man shouted in disbelief. He discovered that Lu Ming's combat ability was still at its peak and nothing had happened to him. Roar! Lu Ming's long spear pierced out and a tricolor true dragon flew out, colliding with the bald burly man. The bald burly man screamed miserably, spurting blood from his mouth. His body flew far away and fell to the ground. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared in front of the bald man. No, don't kill me. Please spare me. The bald man shouted in horror. At this time he was seriously injured and could not resist. When you attacked me just now, did you think about sparing me? Lu Ming sneered. His eyes were as sharp as lightning. The bald man was stunned and his face kept changing. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. How could he spare Lu Ming? Now I'll send you on your way, Lu Ming said. No, don't kill me, don't kill me. Lu Ming, I've worked so hard to reach the martial emperor realm. I don't want to die like this. The bald man shouted. Martial emperor. However, Lu Ming's gaze was cold and unmoved. Also, I'm one of Palace Master Lei's men. If you kill me, Palace Master Lei will definitely not let you off. Seeing that the soft approach didn't work, the bald man decided to use the hard approach. Lu Ming said coldly. You're dreaming. Let me tell you, the Sacred Clan is behind the Sacred Clan, one of the two great clans of the Tianxian domain. The bald man shouted. You talk too much. Boom! Lu Ming shouted and took a step forward. This step contained the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Looking at the huge lightning cauldron in front of him, the madness in Lu Ming's eyes intensified. Previously, he didn't dare to get too close to the lightning cauldron. He was afraid that the lightning on the lightning cauldron would destroy his mind and soul. But now Lu Ming decided to take a risk. He wanted to use the lightning energy on the lightning cauldron to speed up his comprehension of the thunder will and break through to the martial king realm. Step. Lu Ming took a step forward and walked towards the lightning cauldron. Step by step, Lu Ming walked faster and faster. He quickly approached the lightning cauldron. Sizzle lightning flickered on the lightning cauldron. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's manifested mind was trembling violently. However, the closer he got to the lightning cauldron, the clearer the thunder will became. Lu Ming felt that his comprehension of the thunder will was speeding up. Not enough. It's still not enough. I'm still far from it. Lu Ming's consciousness got closer to the lightning cauldron. Finally, Lu Ming was only a few meters away from the lightning cauldron. At this point, Lu Ming's consciousness started to tremble violently. It felt like it would dissipate at any moment. I'll go all out. Success or failure depends on this. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with madness and viciousness. In the next moment, he suddenly took a step forward and charged forward. Then he threw a palm strike at the lightning cauldron. Bang! When the palm strike landed on the lightning cauldron, an unimaginably horrifying thunder will burst out and drown Lu Ming's consciousness. Chapter 474. Lu Ming's vision went black and he lost consciousness. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming finally regained some consciousness. However, he did not know where he was. It was as if he was floating in an endless void. At the same time, he felt numb and itchy all over his body. It was as if there was an endless electric current flowing through his body. Where am I? Lu Ming tried to open his eyes but found that it was pitch black and he could not see anything. However, he could feel that there was an endless intent realm around him. Thunder intent realm. What a strong thunder intent realm. I feel that I have become one with the thunder intent realm. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he immediately tried his best to comprehend the thunder intent realm. His comprehension of the thunder intent realm improved by leaps and bounds. It could only be described as terrifying. It was unknown how much time had passed, but his comprehension of the concept of thunder had become several times stronger than before. Lu Ming felt that he had reached a limit. The next step was to condense intent realm runes. Buzz. At this moment, the world shook and Lu Ming felt his vision blur. In the next moment, he saw that he was in mid-air and a palm had hit the thunder cauldron. Clang! The thunder cauldron shook slightly and a strong force surged out. Lu Ming's body could not help but fly backward. Step. Step. Lu Ming took a dozen steps back before he could stabilize himself. What's going on? Could it be that everything I've experienced before was just an instant? Lu Ming thought in shock. That action was the action he took when he hit the thunder cauldron. If that was the case, it would be extremely shocking. Let's go out and take a look. With a thought, Lu Ming left the sea of consciousness and looked at the bald man. The bald man hadn't died yet. He was still screaming miserably as the corpse chi continued to corrode his body. It seems that not much time has passed. Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief, feeling more at ease. He was afraid that too much time had passed and he could not rush back to the Burning Sun Empire. Amazing. That lightning cauldron is really amazing. In just an instant my thunder intent has increased by several times. However, such a thing can only happen once. It was too dangerous just now. Previously, Lu Ming had really thought that his soul had dissipated. Fortunately, for some unknown reason, he had managed to pull through in the end. However, even if he could survive this time, he might not be able to do so the next time. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Lu Ming would not use this method to comprehend the concept of thunder. Things went wrong, his soul might really scatter. That would be an injustice. Now, can I start condensing the concept of lightning? Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Lu Ming's body. It was the pure aura of the concept of thunder. Of course, it was only an instant before the aura of lightning concept was completely restrained. Condense! Lu Ming let out a low growl. Wang! Through Lu Ming's 3 divine veins, the concept of thunder seemed to connect with the great Tao of heaven and earth. In the vast great Tao of heaven and earth, there was a great Tao of thunder that resonated with Lu Ming. Strands of concept appeared in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. Then, these strands of concept started to gather together. Soon, these strands of concept gathered together and gradually formed a rune. It was the concept of thunder rune. Not far away, the bald man was dumbfounded. He shouted in disbelief, condensing the concept rune and breaking through to the martial king realm. He is about to break through to the martial king realm. He could not believe what he had just seen. Previously, although Lu Ming's combat strength was extremely strong, it was mostly due to the fusion of 3 concepts and a powerful Tian rank martial skill. A single concept was not very strong. The strongest concept of thunder was still a long way from condensing the concept of thunder rune. However, in just a few minutes, Lu Ming's concept of thunder could actually condense the concept of thunder rune. This was simply unbelievable. This cheating, you're cheating! The bald man screamed. Under such circumstances, the bald man could only use the word cheating to describe it. Damn it, you're trying to break through to the martial emperor realm at this time. Damn it! The icy voice could be heard once again. However, this time it was filled with panic. Die! The icy voice screamed. Over 100 iron chains were whipped toward Lu Ming from all directions. Rumble! However, at that instant the wind and clouds in the sky changed rapidly. Dark clouds gathered together, accompanied by flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. An unimaginably strong aura spread across the place. This suppression was the suppression of the heavens. The heavenly tribulation was necessary to break through to the martial emperor realm and condense the concept of thunder rune. Bring it on! Lu Ming suddenly rose from the ground. His concept of thunder was unleashed, which was extremely strong. He ignored the 100 iron chains that were whipping toward him. Rumble! Crack! In the next instant the heavens and earth were lit up. Over 10 lightning bolts as thick as an arm descended from the sky and struck toward Lu Ming. Along the way, the iron chains were shattered into pieces by the lightning bolts. Hey! The cold voice shrieked. Bring it on! Lu Ming let out a roar. At that instant an inch-long rune appeared above his head, shining brightly. Bang! Bang! Over 10 lightning bolts struck the concept of thunder rune above Lu Ming's head. The concept of thunder rune vibrated continuously, as if it was going to collapse at any time. Luckily, when the lightning bolts disappeared, the concept of thunder rune did not dissipate. Instead, it became even brighter and more solid. At the same time, Lu Ming felt his body going numb. A portion of the force of the tribulation flowed through his body through the concept of thunder rune, tempering his flesh and qi. Although the tribulation of thunder rune was dangerous when breaking through to the martial emperor realm, as long as one could survive it, the benefits would be great. Rumble! In the sky, the dark clouds continued to churn and the rumbling grew louder. It seemed that Lu Ming had managed to withstand a round of attacks and that had angered it. Dark clouds rolled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled, as if an even stronger lightning tribulation was brewing. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He moved and rushed to the side. Around him, he could faintly see figures. Those should be refined corpses. Lu Ming's body rushed over, and the tribulation cloud above his head moved with Lu Ming. The range of the dark cloud also enveloped the refined corpses. Ah boy, what are you doing? Get out of my way. Get out of my way. That gloomy voice screamed in panic. Chirp, chirp, chirp. I'll let you have a taste of the lightning tribulation. Lu Ming sneered. The tribulation was a very magical moment. Any living being that was enveloped by the lightning tribulation would be struck by the lightning tribulation. Moreover, the stronger the living being was, the stronger the power of the lightning tribulation would be. However, the lightning tribulation that struck the person undergoing the tribulation was the same. It would not change. Therefore, when others were undergoing the tribulation, it was difficult for others to interfere. No matter how strong one's cultivation was, or how high one's martial Dao realm was, they would not dare to help others, because that would only bring trouble to themselves. Therefore, one could only rely on themselves to pass the tribulation. Sizzle, at this moment more than 10 lightning bolts struck down from the sky. He moved his feet and dashed toward the black-robed young man and the pile of refined corpses. Rumble! Above Lu Ming's head, lightning flashed and thunder roared. A terrifying pressure spread and seemed to be stronger than before. What? What is going on? Why is your lightning tribulation still not over after 3 rounds? No, retreat now. The black-robed young man's expression changed drastically. He screamed as he backed away frantically. However, it was too late for the refined corpses to retreat. Rumble! Another dozen bolts of lightning struck down from the sky. This time the power was even stronger. Lu Ming's eyes were bright and firm. He did not block the lightning and let the intent runes block it. The intent runes trembled like candles in the wind. They seemed like they would be extinguished at any moment, but they held on. The intent runes have grown longer. After the lightning, Lu Ming was surprised to find that the lightning intent runes had grown longer. At first it was only an inch, but now it had grown by a little. Normally, the newly formed intent runes were level 1 intent runes. Level 1 intent runes were divided into beginner, small success, great success, and perfection. Normally, Martial King Realm martial artists would comprehend level 1 intent runes. Coincidentally, the 4 levels corresponded to the 4 levels of Martial King Realm. Normally, low-level martial kings would comprehend level 1 intent runes. Their intent runes would be 1 inch longer. Small success martial kings would comprehend level 1 intent runes. Their intent runes would be 2 inches longer. So on and so forth. If a Martial King Realm martial artist wanted to break through, they had to break through their intent first before their cultivation could break through. Now, Lu Ming had not completely broken through to Martial King Realm, but his intent runes were already more than 1 inch long. This was extremely rare. Lu Ming was overjoyed. This was a good thing. Lu Ming was overjoyed, but the black-robed youth was roaring in anger. The previous wave of lightning had turned a large number of refined corpses into charcoal. At a glance, there were at least 50 corpses. The main reason was that the refined corpses were too concentrated. They were all wiped out. My refined corpses! The black-robed youth screamed. His heart was bleeding. Don't worry, there's more. Continue. Lu Ming laughed and rushed toward the other refined corpses. In the sky, there was actually another wave of lightning striking down. The 5th wave. Normally, when a martial artist broke through to Martial King Realm, there would only be 3 waves of lightning tribulation. But now, Lu Ming's lightning tribulation had a 5th wave. The black-robed youth wanted to cry. Crackle! Another wave of lightning struck, turning a large number of refined corpses into charcoal. However, Lu Ming managed to survive it. His intent runes grew slightly longer, approaching 2 inches long. You pervert, you monster! The black-robed youth roared. He was extremely furious. His cultivation had reached the 3rd layer Martial Emperor realm, making him extremely powerful. Under normal circumstances, he was confident that he could kill Lu Ming with a single slap. However, he did not dare to do so under the circumstances. He was afraid that if he were to attack, the lightning tribulation would envelop him and drag him into it. He roared in his heart. Once Lu Ming was done with the tribulation, he would have 100 evil ways to deal with Lu Ming. Scolding me? Come at me together. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he dashed toward the black-robed youth. Little bastard, what are you doing? The black-robed youth was shocked and quickly backed off. 9 dragons stomping the heavens. Lu Ming executed the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and took 2 steps forward, causing his figure to disappear. In the next instant, he appeared not far away from the black-robed youth. Meanwhile, the tribulation cloud appeared above Lu Ming's head in the blink of an eye. This time the black-robed youth was encapsulated within it. No, no, no. The black-robed youth's expression changed tremendously as he let out a crazy scream. Rumble. The only response he received was a sky full of lightning. This time there were more than 100 lightning strikes striking down. Most of them were aimed at the black-robed youth. Furthermore, each of the lightning strikes was more than 10 times stronger than the ones aimed at Lu Ming. The black-robed youth yelled in a frenzy as he tried his best to defend himself. However, as the lightning strike struck downward, the black-robed youth's head was badly damaged, causing his body to emit a gray mist. The mist was the corpse chi, which was emitted by the lightning strikes. The black-robed youth spat out mouthfuls of blood as he let out cries of agony. Block it! This time Lu Ming did not rely on his intent runes to block the lightning strikes. He held the spear in his hand and leapt into the air, blocking half of the lightning strikes. Bang! Bang! Chapter 476. In the end, the 6th wave of lightning passed. However, the dark clouds in the sky had yet to dissipate. They seemed to be extremely furious and were surging crazily, as if they were going to exert all their strength to destroy the 2 ants below. No, how can this be? Why isn't it over yet? You can't do this, you can't do this. Seeing this scene, the black-robed youth was scared out of his wits and screamed in horror. However, in the next moment, rumble! Lightning fell. This time the power of the lightning was several times stronger than before. Lu Ming's eyes were extremely solemn. Boom! In the next moment both his bloodlines were activated, and the wind and fire concepts were also released. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and continuously attacked the lightning falling from the sky. Boom! Boom! Every time a lightning fell, Lu Ming's body would tremble violently. His muscles and bones trembled as if they were about to be torn apart. And when some lightning struck the runes of the thunder concept, the runes twisted crazily and trembled as if they were about to collapse at any time. Hold on, I must hold on. Lu Ming roared in his heart and tried his best to resist. True Dragon Strike. Lu Ming stabbed out with the long spear, and a 3-colored vacuum flew out, but it dissipated after being hit by a few lightning bolts. Then the lightning bolt struck Lu Ming's body one after another. Puff! Lu Ming coughed up blood as his body fell to the ground, crashing into a big pit. However, in the next moment, Lu Ming rushed out of the pit and continued to resist. Boom! Boom! There were a few more thunderbolts. Cracks appeared on Lu Ming's body and beads of blood seeped out from them continuously. The 7th wave of lightning was too strong. Lu Ming was miserable, but the black-robed youth was even more miserable. He screamed again and again as a large amount of fog emerged from his body. Blood spurted out of his mouth and his body was smoking. His body was almost broken, and there were many charred pits. In the end, his body was almost broken into 2, and even his bones and organs could be seen. Those who practiced the evil sex martial arts were most afraid of lightning. It was much more difficult for them to pass the tribulation compared to other martial artists. At this moment they were naturally in a miserable state. However, the black-robed youth was indeed powerful. His life force was incomparably exuberant. He was able to pull through like this, but his injuries were incomparably heavy. He had almost died. When the lightning dissipated, he desperately flew into the distance. An incomparably resentful shout echoed between heaven and earth. Little bastard, I swear I won't be a man if I don't get my revenge. The voice disappeared, and the person also went far away. At this moment, the dark clouds in the sky finally dispersed, and the world returned to tranquility. Huff huff. Lu Ming let out a few long breaths. The lightning tribulation, the further it went, the stronger it became. By the 7th round, Lu Ming was already on the verge of being unable to withstand it. Everyone else has 3 wheels, but I actually have 7. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. However, the benefits were self-evident. Lu Ming's intent runes shone brilliantly like sparkling purple jade. Most importantly, his intent runes were actually 2 inches long. This was already a level 1 intent rune that had reached the lesser success stage. An ordinary lesser success stage king's intent realm cultivation was only at this level. He had just passed the lightning tribulation, but his intent had already reached the lesser success stage. If others saw this, they would be scared to death. Not far away there was indeed a person. It was the bald man. At this moment he was still alive. He looked at Lu Ming in disbelief and screamed in horror. How is this possible? How is this possible? He had cultivated for dozens of years, but his intent runes were only 2 inches long. Compared to Lu Ming, it was like heaven and earth. Lu Ming could not be bothered with him. He sat cross-legged and circulated the true dragon battle art with all his might. At this moment it was the final crucial stone inscription. After being tempered by the lightning, the true qi in Lu Ming's body had completely transformed into true yuan. It was a 100% transformation. At the same time, the vortex in his dantian spun crazily. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth frantically gathered towards Lu Ming. However, this amount of spiritual qi was far from enough. Lu Ming waved his hand, and piles of supreme-grade spiritual crystals appeared around him. Explode! Lu Ming's arm shook. Suddenly bam! Bam! At least 20,000 pieces of the supreme spiritual crystals exploded, and an endless amount of spiritual qi gushed out. The 9 dragons' bloodline opened its mouth and sucked in the surging spiritual qi of heaven and earth. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth continuously transformed into true yuan. The true yuan in Lu Ming's body began to increase crazily and became stronger. Now, although Lu Ming had broken through, the amount of true yuan in his body had not caught up. Now, he had to replenish the amount of true yuan. Moreover, Lu Ming cultivated the true dragon battle art, and had already reached the 9th level. His true yuan was extremely strong, and the amount of spiritual qi he needed was too much. The 20,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals were quickly consumed. Lu Ming took out another 20,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals. He continued to devour and refine them crazily. The true yuan in Lu Ming's body continued to increase, and the aura he emitted became stronger and stronger. This was the aura of a king. In this way, Lu Ming finished devouring the 20,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals, and took out another 20,000. In total, he did this 8 times. In other words, Lu Ming had devoured a total of 160,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals. What kind of terrifying number was this? Not far away, the bald burly man was almost scared to death. His eyes were in a daze as he looked at Lu Ming. He kept muttering to himself, "Demon, this is a demon. I shouldn't have listened to Palace Master Thunder's bewitchment and dealt with such a demon. Palace Master Thunder, if you don't kill him now, you will die sooner or later." The bald man laughed loudly. After a while his aura rapidly weakened and he died just like that. At this moment Lu Ming stood up. His eyes flickered with excitement. "Martial King, is this the Martial King realm? Too strong. The difference between a half-step Martial King and a Martial King is like heaven and earth. No wonder people say that those below the Martial King realm are ants." Lu Ming felt the boundless true yuan in his body inside. Now, his true yuan was 10 times stronger than before. Furthermore, it was 100% pure. When he circulated it, there was no difficulty at all. My physical body has also reached the peak of grade 6. Lu Ming discovered that after experiencing the tempering of the thunder tribulation, his physical body was 1 step closer to the peak of grade 6. He was only 1 step away from attaining grade 7. The most important thing is the state. Lu Ming carefully sensed and discovered a 2-inch-long state talisman quietly floating in his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming stretched out his palm and grabbed the air. Instantly, the power of the thunderbolt in the universe gathered crazily in Lu Ming's palm. In the blink of an eye, a long spear that was completely condensed by thunderbolts appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Sizzle, thunder flickered and there was a burnt smell in the air. Even the air was burnt by the power of thunder. Shwa! Lu Ming waved his hand and the thunder spear turned into a bolt of lightning and flew into the sky. In the blink of an eye, it flew out of the deep pit and into the clouds before exploding. Rumble! In the sky, thunder and lightning filled the sky. Grade 1 small success Thunder Realm. How strong, how strong! Chapter 477. The lesser success stage of a first-level intent was the intent of the lesser success stage of the Martial Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming had already mastered it. Just how strong is my current combat strength? It shouldn't be a problem for me to defeat a second-layer Martial Emperor realm cultivator. Lu Ming pondered. The difference between each layer of the Martial Emperor realm was extremely huge. It was extremely difficult to defeat someone with a higher level. Furthermore, those who were able to break through to the Martial Emperor realm were usually Battle 3 geniuses. In other words, any Martial Emperor realm cultivator would be a Battle 3 geniuses at the Martial Ancestor realm. Those Battle 4 geniuses or even Battle 5 geniuses at the Martial Ancestor realm would not be able to defeat someone with a higher level after breaking through to the Martial Emperor realm. At most, they would be the best among their peers. Those who were able to defeat someone with a higher level after breaking through to the Martial Emperor realm were definitely rare geniuses. Lu Ming was currently at the early first-layer Martial Emperor realm. With the help of the True Battle Dragon technique, the combination of 3 intents, and the 3 unique skills of the Dragon God, he was confident that he could defeat, or even kill, a peak second-layer Martial Emperor realm cultivator. Together with the Thunder intent of lesser success stage, Lu Ming's strength would be even more terrifying. Third-layer Martial Emperor realm cultivators, I should be able to defeat them, right? Lu Ming mumbled. After all, the Martial Emperor realm was too unfamiliar to Lu Ming. Without fighting them, Lu Ming would not be able to tell. If I were to combine the wind and fire intents into intent runes, my strength would be truly strong. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. However, combining the wind and fire intents into intent runes was not something that could be done in a short period of time. He had to do it step by step. Shush! In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared before the bald man. With a wave of his hand, he kept the storage ring of the bald man. At the same time, a powerful devouring force burst out and devoured the blood essence of the bald man. Cho Chong Kong Shui Chao, just you wait. This time, I swear I'm not a human if I don't kill you. With a deep roar, Lu Ming's figure sprang into the sky and turned into a ray of light, rushing toward the Cloud Emperor mountain range and the blazing Sun Empire. As he hurried along, he refined the bald man's blood essence. He didn't absorb the energy of the blood essence and transform it into true essence. Instead, he used all the power of the blood essence to enhance his bloodline. The blood essence of a peak first-layer Martial King realm martial artist was extremely rich. The 9 Dragons bloodline was being refined crazily. His entire body was glowing with a bloody light. His 5 silver chakras were flickering with a dazzling silver light. Wang! After a while, another chakra appeared on the 9 Dragons bloodline. The 6th silver chakra. 6th level king grade bloodline. The 6th chakra of the 9 Dragons bloodline was pale silver at the beginning. Gradually, its color deepened and finally turned dark silver like the other 5 chakras. Only then did the bald man's blood essence run out. The blood essence of a bald man was enough to raise Lu Ming's bloodline by an entire level. If a few more of them come, won't my bloodline rise to the 7th or 8th level of the king realm? Lu Ming thought excitedly, then shook his head. The higher one's bloodline was, the harder it was to raise it. Especially from the 6th level to the 7th level of the king grade bloodline. There were many people with the 6th level of the king grade bloodline, but very few people with the 7th level of the king grade bloodline. Quick, quick! Lu Ming hurried on with all his might. However, he didn't use the 9 dragon sky stomping steps because it would consume too much of his true essence. Even so, Lu Ming's speed was extremely fast. Endless mountains and rivers passed under Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew across the sky like a bolt of lightning. A few martial grandmasters were flying in the sky when they suddenly felt a bolt of lightning flashing over their heads. What followed was a series of sonic booms. Then, a violent gust of wind blew over, almost blowing the martial grandmasters away. So powerful. What was that? Just by flying it caused such a terrifying power. A younger martial grandmaster's face changed greatly. A king-grade bloodline. It must be a king-grade bloodline. And it's not an ordinary one. It's too powerful, a white-haired elder said in a deep voice. The few of them gasped. They looked in the direction that Lu Ming flew past with some respect and awe. Thousands of miles of land passed under Lu Ming's body as he hurried towards the Blazing Sun Empire. However, this place was too far away from the Blazing Sun Empire. Even with Lu Ming's current speed, it would take at least 5 days. In the meeting hall of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect in the Blazing Sun Empire, the upper echelons of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, the upper echelons of the Crimson Cloud Valley, and Hua Qi were all seated. However, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. This was because a few days ago, the Decimo Sword Sect suddenly sent out an army and launched a fierce attack on the territory of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect and the Crimson Cloud Valley. For a time, the allied forces of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, Hua Qi, and the Crimson Cloud Valley were defeated. They couldn't resist at all. The experts of the various forces also suffered heavy casualties. They had no choice but to withdraw their forces and retreat continuously. In these few days, the Decimo Sword Sect's army was almost at the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Now the Crimson Cloud Valley had completely abandoned their sect and joined the Mystic Essence Sword Sect to defend against the Decimo Sword Sect's attack. How did this happen? Why did the Decimo Sword Sect's army suddenly become so strong? The Crimson Cloud Valley Master, Ling Patian, slammed the table and roared. Most importantly, the Decimo Sword Sect's army has an additional army of 100,000 people. It's too strong. Even the Crimson Bloodscale Wolf army couldn't resist it. Hua Qi said with a solemn expression. It's said that the army is wearing armor with the sun embroidered on it. It's confirmed that they are the Sun Army from the Bloodjiao Empire's Great Sun Palace. Lin Shui sighed and said. The moment she said that, the atmosphere became even more solemn. It's really the Sun Army from the Great Sun Palace. But why would the Great Sun Palace send troops to help the Decimo Sword Sect? Ling Patian shouted. The only person who can make the Great Sun Palace send troops to help the Decimo Sword Sect is probably Cho Chongkong. He came with the identity of the Detian Divine Guard, so the Great Sun Palace had to give him face. Lin Shui's frown deepened. Cho Chongkong, how dare he? Isn't he afraid that Lu Ming? Speaking up to hear, Ling Patian stopped as a bad feeling flashed across his eyes. The others felt the same. If Cho Chongkong dared to make a move, did something happen to Lu Ming? It can't be. Brother Lu is a genius. How could something happen to him so easily? Hua Qi shook his head in disbelief. However, the atmosphere was still solemn. Although they didn't want to believe it, it was a fact that Cho Chongkong led the army to attack. No matter what, we have to hold on. Lin Shui gritted her teeth and said. At this moment, a figure ran in anxiously and shouted, not good. Sect Master, the Decimo Sword Sect's Sect Master, Qiu Wuyang, led an elite army and is outside the sect. What? So fast? Everyone in the main hall was shocked. Gather everyone and fight the enemy with me. Chapter 478. When they arrived at the Mystic Essence Sword Sect's mountain gate, they saw that outside the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, there was an army as far as the eye could see. The army was divided into 2 groups. One of them was clad in golden armor, and they were riding golden lions that looked like little golden suns. There were at least 100,000 soldiers. The Sun Legion was the Sun Legion of the Great Sun Palace. On the other side of the Sun Legion was a legion wearing blue battle armor. This legion was the most elite of the 10 Direction Sword Sect, and there were about 100,000 of them. The 2 legions added up to 200,000, and their aura was so powerful that it made many disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect break out in cold sweat. It was with these 2 elite legions that the Decimo Sword Sect broke through and unexpectedly arrived before the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Shua. When Lin Shui and the others came out, a figure charged out from the 10 Direction Sword Sect's army and stood in the air with a powerful aura. It was Qiu Wuyang, the sect master of the 10 Direction Sword Sect. Lin Shui, you're already at the end of the road. Surrender now, and perhaps we can spare your life. Qiu Wuyang stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Lin Shui with disdain. Shua. Lin Shui took a step forward and also floated in the air, facing Qiu Wuyang. Qiu Wuyang, you've only borrowed external power. It's not much. Lin Shui said coldly. Haha, Lin Shui, you're too naive. The winner takes all. You still don't understand this principle. No wonder you lost. Qiu Wuyang laughed complacently. Lin Shui didn't look at him, and instead looked at the Sun Legion. She cupped her fists and said, "Everyone from the Great Sun Palace, my Mystic Essence Sword sect has never offended the Great Sun Palace. Why did you send an army to surround us?" "Haha, never offended our Great Sun Palace? What a joke." 3 figures flew out from the Sun Legion. Each of them wore golden battle armor and had a powerful aura. These 3 were all half-step kings. The one in the middle was a burly man who was more than 2 meters tall. He was the one who had just spoken. He looked at Lin Shui coldly and said, "Your Mystic Essence Sword sect has a grudge with my Great Sun Palace for a long time. You just don't know about it." The old grudge he was talking about was the matter between Lu Ming and Yang Liuji. Lin Shui naturally didn't know about it and was stunned. The burly man sneered and continued, "Moreover, even if there were no old grudges, all of you should still be destroyed. Who asked you to offend the genius of the Ditian Divine Guards?" "Ditian Divine Guard, it is indeed the Ditian Divine Guard. Cho Chongkong, is it you?" At this moment, Ling Patian flew up to the sky and stood beside Lin Shui. "Haha, that's me." At that moment, a figure flew out from the army of the Decimo Sword faction. It was Cho Chongkong. Cho Chongkong's eyes were cold as he laughed. "Lin Shui, Ling Patian, the Burning Sun Empire should be unified. You are so stubborn, you are digging your own graves." "Cho Chongkong, as the Empyrean Divine Guard, you actually used your personal authority to mobilize the armies of other empires and start a war. You have violated the rules of the Empyrean Divine Palace. If this matter is investigated, you will not be able to escape punishment," Lin Shui said. "Investigate? Haha, what a joke. With just the 2 of you? Even if you report me to the Empyrean Divine Palace, who would listen to you? Who would investigate a genius like me, the Empyrean Divine Guard, just because of ants from a small empire? What a joke." Cho Chongkong laughed without any fear. "Damn it." Lin Shui, Ling Patian, and the others gritted their teeth as their anger soared. However, they felt helpless in their hearts. They understood that Cho Chongkong was right. They were just a few half-step kings from small empires. In the eyes of the Empyrean Divine Palace, they had no weight at all. Even if they reported, no one would care about them. "Cho Chongkong, don't be arrogant. Lu Ming is an Eastern Sky Divine Guard. If he knows about this matter, he will definitely not let this matter rest." Hua Qi shouted from the mountain peak of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. "Lu Ming, I advise you not to expect anything from Lu Ming. He is probably already dead." Cho Chongkong sneered. "Impossible. Cho Chongkong, you are bullshitting. How could anything happen to Lu Ming? You are still alive, so how could Lu Ming die?" Hua Qi shouted. "Hua Qi!" Cho Chongkong roared as a cold killing intent burst out from his body. His body emitted a mountain-like aura that was extremely terrifying. "Half-Step King, you have reached the Half-Step King realm?" Lin Shui shouted in disbelief. At this moment, the aura that Cho Chongkong emitted was indeed the aura of a half-step king. It seemed like Cho Chongkong's cultivation had also improved greatly during this period of time. His cultivation had reached the peak of martial ancestor realm, and he had comprehended a trace of thunder intent. He was indeed in the half-step king realm. Ling Patian, Hua Qi, Shangguanming, Yan Quan, and the others' faces turned ugly. In such a short period of time, Cho Chongkong's cultivation had already reached the half-step king realm. It was terrifying. Cho Chongkong sneered, looking at Lin Shui and the others as if he was looking at ants. In the end, he looked at Hua Qi and shouted coldly, "Hua Qi, how dare you? I'm a Ditian Divine Guard. You're just a prince of a fallen empire. How dare you scold me? You're simply courting death. Now I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and kowtow to me in front of everyone. I will spare your life. A warrior prefers death to humiliation. Cho Chongkong, kill me if you dare. You want me to kneel down and apologize? Impossible." Hua Qi shouted coldly, not giving Cho Chongkong any face. "You are courting death." Cho Chongkong's gaze turned cold as his palm slashed out like a sword. Shoo! A lightning sword instantly crossed the void and slashed towards Hua Qi. It was fast, indescribably fast. Lin Shui, Ling Patian, and the others wanted to help, but it was too late. Eighth Prince, be careful. Beside Hua Qi, an aged figure suddenly rushed out. His body emitted a vast aura as he slashed out a saber light. However, the blade light was shattered like tofu by Qiu Changkong's sword light. Poof! Blood spurted out as the old figure was split into two by Qiu Changkong's sword light. Imperial Grandfather! Hua Qi let out an earth-shattering roar. The person who stood in front of Hua Qi was the last imperial uncle of the imperial family. He was the last martial ancestor realm 9th realm expert, and he had died just like that. The imperial uncle had been standing beside Hua Qi, and that was why he was able to save Hua Qi's life in time. Qiu Changkong, I will fight you to the death. Hua Qi's eyes were red as he stared at Qiu Changkong. You? You're just an ant. You want to fight to the death with me? Die! Qiu Changkong shouted coldly as he slashed out another blade light. Clang! This time Lin Shui was prepared. Her aura surged as she slashed out a blade light towards Qiu Changkong's blade light. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion and a figure was forced to retreat. It was Lin Shui. At that moment her body was trembling. The crowd saw a deep wound on Lin Shui's chest that was bleeding profusely. Hiss! The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.